Back in 2017, DNC chair Tom Perez claimed that black women were the backbone of the Democrat Party. And he was right. What's going on in 2023? Looks like they're having back problems. Let's talk about it. Hello, everyone. This is Keith, and welcome to the Ghetto Sapien channel, your home of inner city intelligence. So, the black women vote in massive numbers for the Democrat Party and have been doing it for years. I think they vote somewhere in the mid to upper 90s percentage wise, outstripping black men who are, I think, in the mid 80s, and it's falling. Black men are starting to peel away from the Democrat Party, and it's causing a rift between black men and black women because they're not on the same page politically speaking, and it's also manifesting itself in other areas between black men and women. It's a very interesting topic that I'll do another podcast on it later, so we'll just set that aside. I think black women are getting shafted by the Democrat Party. On the surface, it looks like they're doing them a favor, but they keep moving up people into position who are frankly incompetent and not making black women look all that good. Take Kamala, for example. Right now, we can see that Joe Biden is flailing. His cognitive abilities are dwindling. There really ain't much there. He's getting lost on stage. He's shaking hands with ghosts. He's mistaking one country for another. He just looks weak and old. I mean, there's cocaine in the White House. There's topless strippers on the front lawn. The White House is a mess, and Joe Biden is not capable of fixing anything. He's on rapid decline. This is the time that Kamala should be being groomed. They should start moving over Joe Biden's a lot of his burdens. Just hand them over to Kamala to take care of and head up and take charge. Get people used to the idea of a President Kamala. This is the perfect time. You don't have to pull the 25th Amendment on Biden. You could just kind of just slide him off to the side and just show Kamala as almost co-president. It'd be a great thing for her, but they're not doing that to her. They're grooming it instead. It looks like Gavin Newsom is trying to move up into that spot and just kind of push Kamala back down. I don't know how they're going to pull that off, and black women are going to accept a white guy taking the space that a black woman was supposed to have. But that's a Democrats' problem. They have to work on that. They got another problem going on in California because Feinstein, 90 years old, is going down fast. Just check this out.
Say aye. Pardon me?
Aye. Just say aye.
Yeah.
Just say
I would like to support a yes vote on this. It provides $823 billion. That's an increase of $26 billion for the Department of Defense. And it funds priorities submitted.
yeah. Just say aye.
Okay, just aye.
Thank you.
Senator Durbin.
Just say aye, lady. Look, she's been in the Senate forever, and she's losing her ability to even do this little part of her job. Just say aye. The bill's already in play. You just say aye. You don't need to read the speech they handed to you that you obviously don't know what's in it. Just say it and move on, but she can't do that. She's having mental problems, and it's worse than you think. Insider Magazine shows that Dianne Feinstein surrendered decision-making on legal matters to her daughter, who's 66, no spring chicken. But the 90-year-old is still one of the most powerful lawmakers in the country. Let me translate that for you. Dianne Feinstein's 66-year-old daughter has power of attorney over her. So she signed power of attorney over, which means Dianne Feinstein's not competent to make her own personal life decisions, paying bills, going to the doctor, things like that. So she's handed them off to someone. Yet, she's still competent enough to do her job and run as senator and make decisions for the entire state, in many cases for the country. So she can't make decisions for herself, but she can make decisions for the country. Make that make sense. The Democrats know this woman is not all there, but they need her to stay in place until 2024 for a reason. They don't want her replaced at all. And it's not like Feinstein is hurting for money. One of her homes has been marketed, I think it's sold for like $35 million. She has several homes, have tons of money. She should be home with her grandkids or whatever. She should be in hospice care, God forbid, but she should not be in the Senate. Again, the Democrats want her there for a reason. And Gavin Newsom already made a promise. They need to hold his feet to the fire. Gavin Newsom, this is back in 2021. He may be regretting it now, but too late. Gavin Newsom says he will appoint a black woman if Senator Dianne Feinstein retires early. Guess what? She retired early. She may not know it, but she's retired. She needs to step down. They need to ask her to step down. Now, who would take her place? We need a black woman who's competent, years of experience in California, who could take Feinstein's place. There we go.
Democratic Congresswoman Barbara Lee announced her plans to run for Senate next year. The lawmaker who represents Oakland is seeking Dianne Feinstein's seat. That, like you heard, is the same seat local Congresswoman Katie Porter is vying for. If elected, Lee would become the third black woman in the chamber's history. Bay Area Democratic
Sorry about that. There you go. Why not let Barbara Lee take Feinstein's place? What's going on? Why instead of Barbara Lee, and sending Feinstein back home early? And Barbara Lee's a Democrat. It's not like she's going to change the balance of the Senate. She's a diehard Democrat. And who they want instead? They want this guy. They want this guy, Adam Schiff. Doesn't he look like Kaufman now? But they want Adam Schiff instead. Adam Schiff has such a horrible rep. He's thrown off He's thrown off one of the intelligence committees in the House because he's taken secret information. He's taken classified information and leaked it. He's used it to hurt his political enemies. He's lied about the Russian collusion, lied several times on TV, so he can't be trusted. But the Democrats want him. They want him instead of the black woman because it'll be harder to run against her if she's already the Senate. Just like Kamala, if you put her in place now, it'd be harder because she'd be an incumbent and she'd probably kick she'd kick Schiff's behind or give him at least a rough time. So they don't want her there to mess that up. Is it race? Probably a bit of it. But here's what I really think the problem is. I'm not going to be so cheap as to say it's race. I'm not overly sensitive. Democrats do that stuff, but they have a strategic reason why they do not want Barbara Lee, especially in that place. And her speech in right after 9/11, I think, sealed her fate.
From California, Ms. Lee.
Gentlewoman from California is recognized for a minute and a half.
Thank you, and I want to thank our ranking member and my friend for yielding. Mr. Speaker, members, I rise today really with a very heavy heart, one that is filled with sorrow for the families and the loved ones who were killed and injured this week. Only the most foolish and the most callous would not understand the grief that has really gripped our people and millions across the world. This unspeakable act on the United States has really forced me, however, to rely on my moral compass, my conscience, and my God for direction. September 11th changed the world. Our deepest fears now haunt us. Yet I am convinced that military action will not prevent further acts of international terrorism against the United States.
And golly gee, she was correct. Military action did not stop it. She was right then. She's right then. She's right now.
This is a very complex and complicated matter. Now, this resolution will pass, although we all know that the president can wage a war even without it.
And he did, and that was Bush, and he sucked. I'm glad I voted for him only one time. He didn't fool me twice, but he fooled me one time, I'm embarrassed to say. But he was a terrible president, a warmonger, and she was dead right. He did wage war, unfortunately.
However difficult this vote may be, some of us must urge the use of restraint. Our country is in a state of mourning. Some of us must say, let's step back for a moment. Let's just pause just for a minute.
And that is absolutely, positively correct. The federal government is meant to be cumbersome. It's meant to operate slowly and deliberatively. It's not supposed to respond rapidly and make emotional decisions. It's not really designed to respond to emergencies and things like this. It's supposed to take its time. That's why the House is made up of the Senate and Congress. The Congress, can be emotional sometimes. It represents the people. The Senate's supposed to represent the state. There's only 100 of them, and they're supposed to really take their time to digest these issues without going into them with emotions. That's when you get problems. That's when you get the Patriot Act, which came from 9/11, where to this day we're still taking off our freaking shoes at the airport like morons. And the FBI was turned in from an investigative body into an intelligence body. So it's like the CIA, but with enforcement powers. Very dangerous. Too much communication going on between intelligence agencies and enforcement agencies. Just a total mess came out of the Patriot Act, which was a major mistake. But we were frightened into signing it. Go, the terrorists, the Muslim terrorists are at our door. They're among us. So let's turn our own country into like Big Brother. That'll fix it. So that's what she was warning us about.
And think through the implications of our actions today so that this does not spiral out of control. Now, I have agonized over this vote, but I came to grips with it today, and I came to grips with opposing this resolution during the very painful yet very beautiful memorial service. As a member of the clergy so eloquently said, as we act, let us not become the evil that we deplore. Thank you, and I yield the balance of my time.
Gentlewoman's time is expired.
She was spot on. What a way to end it, because we have become that evil. Not we, the country, the government. This government is as oppressive as any government I've ever read about in recent history. People, at least back then it wasn't the case. It was getting there, but now we have people who are afraid to speak out politically. They're afraid of losing their jobs. People were frightened into getting vaccines, things like that. People are afraid of the government now because the government it's much more powerful than Barbara Lee was talking about back then in 2001. But she really did call it. We have become the evil that we were supposedly fighting against back in 2001. She's a very brave lady. This was a very brave speech. She was the one holdout over 435 of her members. She's the one who stood up and said, no, we need to take our time and not rush into war. She was right then, she's right now. So just to say, just because you have a D next to your name, I don't hate your guts. I don't think both parties have all the answers. There needs to be a balance in between. Again, I'm just not some partisan lunatic. I lean more libertarian than somewhere between libertarian and conservative. I like what Dave Smith of the Mises wing of the Libertarian Party, what he has to say. So I think we need to find some sort of balance. Again, Barbara Lee does not get enough credit for that speech. I'm sure I disagree with 90% of this lady's ideology, but she's not in favor of the industrial the military industrial complex. And that's what's killing her. The fact that you saw Dianne Feinstein, what she was talking about with few brain cells she had firing, she's given billions of extra dollars to the Department of Defense. Barbara Lee, there's no guarantee that she'll do that. In fact, she probably wouldn't. So that's the big problem. And that speech is why I don't think Barbara Lee will ever make it to the Senate, because she's not a rubber stamp vote for billions of dollars for war like we're doing right now in the Ukraine. So big respect for her. And that's all I got to say. Brave woman. And she'd probably be a pretty decent senator, at least on that level, for the state of California. But they're going to miss out. They're going to get Adam Schiff. They're going to get more war. Screw them. Anyway, that's all I got to say. Like, share, comment, and subscribe.